If you only know Aiah as the calm, elegant visual of BINI, it might be hard to imagine that there was a time when she barely believed in herself. When people see her now, they see confidence, beauty, and someone who looks completely at home on stage. But the truth is, that version of Aiah was built through years of rejection, waiting, fear, and quiet courage. Her story is not about overnight success. It is about the long road. The road where you get told no again and again. The road where you question your worth. The road where you wonder if your dreams are even realistic. And yet you keep going anyway. Aiah's journey is something many people can relate to. Feeling like you do not belong. Feeling like you are behind. Feeling like everyone else has already figured out their lives while you are still trying to understand yours. So today, this is not just a story about an idol. This is a story about a shy girl from Mactan, Cebu, who believed that even if she did not understand her path yet, she would someday find where she truly belonged. This is the story of BINI Aiah. Aiah, whose real name is Mariah Queen Arceta, grew up in Mactan, Cebu. If you have ever been to Cebu, you probably know that Mactan is famous for its resorts, beaches, and island life. Tourists go there to relax, swim, and enjoy vacations. But for Aiah, it was simply home. It was where her family lived, where she went to school, and where she spent her childhood. Even though she lived in a beautiful place, she did not feel confident growing up. She has shared that she was extremely shy as a child. Not the kind of shy that is just quiet, but the kind that overthinks everything. She would worry about how people saw her. She was afraid of saying the wrong thing. She would hold back even when she wanted to speak. She was not the sporty type. While other kids played volleyball or basketball, she stayed inside playing board games. She liked calm, quiet activities. She did not like being the center of attention. She did not try to stand out. She just wanted to feel safe. One of the first painful experiences she had was feeling like she did not belong. She wanted to make friends, but she felt like people did not want her around. Whether that was actual rejection or fear inside her head, it affected her deeply. She started believing she was different in a bad way. Because of that, she learned how to be alone. She became independent very early. In high school, that shyness did not disappear. She described herself as someone who walked with her head down. She felt weak, introverted, and unsure of herself. She did not see herself as special. She even joked that if she were a cartoon character, she would be sadness from inside out. But something inside her wanted to change. She did not want to stay like that forever, so she took a risk. She tried modeling. This surprised everyone, especially her family. They could not believe that the shy girl who barely spoke wanted to stand in front of cameras. But they supported her. Modeling became her first step into a new world. It led her to pageants, castings, and auditions. At first, she was intimidated. She saw girls who were taller, more confident, and sometimes had foreign features. She compared herself a lot. But slowly she realized something important. Even beautiful and talented people get rejected. It does not mean you are not enough. Sometimes you just do not fit what they are looking for. That lesson stayed with her. Then came PBB. She grew up watching the show and dreamed of being part of it. When auditions came to Cebu, she finally tried. Her family went with her and waited all day until late at night. She passed several levels, but she did not get the call back. This rejection hurt the most. It was the first time she truly wanted something. But instead of giving up, she felt something shift inside her. She even dreamed of the Star Hunt logo. Before graduating senior high, she told herself, "I am going to Manila someday." She did not know how, she did not know when, but she believed it. After the PBB rejection, Aiah tried to convince herself that it was time to live a normal life. She enrolled in college, bought her uniform, and mentally prepared herself for a future that did not include cameras, stages, or screaming crowds. On the surface, she looked like someone who had accepted what happened. But inside, she still felt unsettled. That quiet feeling that told her she was meant for something else never truly left. She kept thinking about that strange dream she had about the Star Hunt logo. It felt random at first, but the more time passed, the more it felt like a sign. She did not know what it meant yet, but she trusted that something was waiting for her. At this time, Aiah was still connected to her former modeling management. One day, they informed her that Star Hunt would be holding a private casting for Darna in Cebu. When she heard this, fear immediately kicked in. She imagined herself standing in a room full of beauty queens, actresses, and experienced models. She pictured herself looking younger, smaller, and less confident than everyone else. Her first instinct was to say no. She thought she would embarrass herself. She worried that she would not measure up. She was already thinking of reasons why she should not go. But her manager convinced her to try. He told her that they were not aiming for the Darna role itself. The real goal was simply for the Star Hunt staff to see her. So she went. The moment she entered the audition venue, her fear became real. The girls around her looked polished and confident. Some of them were already known in the industry. Aiah felt out of place. She even joked later that she felt like the ugly duckling in the room. On top of that, she was given a Tagalog script to perform. Because Bisaya is her first language and English is her second, reading Tagalog lines made her nervous. She stumbled. She stuttered. She felt like she was messing everything up. But she still finished. She did not run away. She did not quit halfway. She stayed and did what she could, even if she felt awkward and unsure. After that, months passed. She returned to her life as a student. She focused on her classes and tried not to think about the audition anymore. She assumed nothing would come from it. Then one night, everything changed. While she was alone at home, she received a call from Star Hunt. They asked her if she was willing to go to Manila to be part of a girl group. At first, she could not believe it. She jumped, cried, and felt like she was dreaming. Without hesitation, she said yes. That call changed the direction of her life. Leaving Cebu was not easy. It meant leaving her family, her comfort zone, and everything familiar to her. But she knew this was her chance. She packed her things and went to Manila, not fully knowing what awaited her. When she arrived, she found out that she was the last member chosen for the group that would later become BINI. The others had already been training for months. Some had gone through intense boot camps. They already had inside jokes, shared struggles, and a strong bond. Aiah immediately felt the pressure. She felt behind. She felt like she had to prove herself. She was told that she needed to catch up, and she took those words seriously. She trained harder, stayed longer, and pushed herself even when she was tired. Emotionally, it was difficult. She felt out of place at times. The girls already knew each other well, and she was still adjusting. She laughed, even when she did not understand the jokes. She worried about whether she truly belonged. One thing that helped her was finding out that Kolay is also Bisaya. For the first time, she had someone who understood her language struggles. She could ask questions without feeling embarrassed. Even now, she still turns to Kolay when she is unsure about certain words. BINI trained for years before they were fully recognized. They practiced almost every day, learning how to sing, dance, and perform together. When the pandemic happened, everything became uncertain. They could not perform in front of crowds. They could not see their families often. They kept training without knowing when their time would come. There were moments when they questioned everything. Why are we still dancing? What is all this for? When ABS-CBN shut down, their future felt even more unclear. Their families worried about them. People wondered if they should just go home. But they stayed. They believed. They trusted the process. At first, they did not believe the attention they were getting. It felt unreal. But then came the mall shows, the screaming fans, the crowds pulling them closer. They heard their songs everywhere, on the streets, in malls, even in places they never expected. That was when they finally realized this was real. Everything they went through had led them here. When BINI finally started getting attention, a lot of people assumed that life instantly became easier for Aiah. From the outside, it looked like everything was finally falling into place. Their songs were playing everywhere. They were being invited to mall tours, TV shows, and brand events. Fans were starting to recognize them wherever they went. But behind the scenes, Aiah was struggling. She was living alone in Manila, far away from her family in Cebu. Being the youngest, she grew up very close to them. They were the ones who supported her when she started modeling, when she joined pageants, when she auditioned for PBB, and when she finally left for Manila. They had always been there physically. Now they were only voices on the phone. At first, she told herself she was strong enough to handle everything. She had her members, her work, and her dreams. But the pressure slowly built up. She was juggling training, work, and school at the same time. Her days were packed. She would wake up early, go to practice, attend to work commitments, and then rush to school requirements. There were nights when she barely slept. There were days when she felt like she was running on empty. She tried to keep going. She told herself that this was what she signed up for, that this was part of chasing her dreams. But eventually it became too much. There came a night when everything felt heavy. She felt lost. Nothing made sense anymore. She felt like she was failing at everything at once. That was when she broke down and called her mom. She cried and said, "Ma, I can't do this anymore. I need you." Her mom did not hesitate. Within hours, she was on a plane to Manila. She stayed with Aiah for about a month. She helped her rest, breathe, and find her balance again. That moment reminded Aiah that no matter how far she goes, her family will always be her safe place. Her parents never told her to quit. They never asked her to go home. Instead, they reminded her that hard beginnings are normal. They believed in her even when she doubted herself. There was another difficult chapter in Aiah's life that she openly shared. There was a time when she had to choose between love and her career. She wanted both. But the timing was wrong. She realized that she could not give her best to her dreams if she was also holding on to something that required all of her attention. So she chose to let go. It was painful. She felt guilty because she knew she hurt someone she cared about. But she also realized that choosing herself was not selfish. It was necessary. She needed to grow, to focus on her goals, and to become the person she wanted to be. Looking back, she understands that if she chose differently, her life would have taken a completely different direction. Because of everything she went through, Aiah learned how to be comfortable being on her own. She even started traveling solo. Her first solo trip was to La Union. She rode the bus alone, wearing a mask so she would not be recognized. Later, she traveled to different countries by herself. It was scary, but it also made her feel free. Her parents worried, of course. She is still the youngest. But she loved learning how to depend on herself. She said that being alone in Manila taught her how to survive and grow stronger. When people ask her how she deals with rejection and pain, Aiah says it is okay to feel sad. It is okay to cry. But she refuses to let rejection define her. She believes in finding healthy ways to express herself, trying new things, meeting new people, and giving herself time to heal. She often tells herself, this is not the end of the world. For her, every rejection is simply a new direction waiting to happen. One thing that has always stayed with Aiah, no matter how far she goes, is her pride in being Bisaya. Growing up in Mactan, Cebu shaped the way she speaks, thinks, and sees the world. Cebu was where her family was, where she felt most comfortable, and where she first learned to dream. When she moved to Manila, she quickly realized how different everything felt. In Manila, most people speak Tagalog. And while Aiah can speak it, it is not her first language. Her first language is Bisaya, then English, and only then Tagalog. Because of this, there were times when she felt insecure speaking. She worried about using the wrong words or sounding awkward. Sometimes she had to pause and think before answering, not because she did not know what to say, but because she was translating in her head. This is why being invited to the Bisaya podcast Kwan on One meant so much to her. It was the first time she could speak freely in her own language for a long interview. She did not have to adjust. She did not have to explain herself. For once, she felt like she was back home. Even while sitting in a studio in Manila, for Aiah, representing Bisaya in BINI is not just about being from Cebu. It is about showing people from the provinces that they can dream big too. You do not have to be from Manila to succeed. You do not have to speak perfect Tagalog to belong. Your roots do not limit you. They make you who you are. During her interview, the host described Aiah's journey in one word: courage. And that word truly fits her. Aiah did not start out confident or fearless. She was shy. She doubted herself. She was afraid of being judged and rejected. But she kept moving forward anyway. She did not wait for fear to disappear before trying. She chose to act despite it. She kept auditioning even when she felt small. She kept training even when she felt behind. She kept going even when she felt lost. Her favorite Bisaya word is isog. It means brave, but not in an aggressive way. For her, isog is about having enough strength to continue even when things are hard. It is about standing up again after you fall. It is about believing that you will be okay, even when you cannot see the full picture yet. She often says, let go and let God. There are moments when you will not understand why certain doors close. You will question your path. You will feel like giving up. But later, you will see that those moments were preparing you for something better. This is why she truly believes that rejection is redirection. Every audition she failed, every opportunity that did not work out, every moment she felt lost, they all led her to where she is now. From a shy girl in Mactan who felt invisible, to the last one chosen in BINI, to someone admired by millions, Aiah's story is not about instant success. It is about patience, faith, courage, and trusting the process. And in the end, everything she went through finally makes sense. When you look at Aiah's life now, it is easy to think that everything happened perfectly. But when you look closely at her journey, you realize how many times she could have given up. How many times she felt small, lost, and unsure of herself. She was rejected. She was scared. She doubted herself, but she never stopped moving forward. From a shy girl who felt invisible to someone who stands in front of thousands of people, her story reminds us that success does not come from confidence alone. It comes from choosing to continue even when you feel like you are not enough. Aiah's life shows us that sometimes the moments that hurt the most are the ones that shape us. That sometimes the doors that close are not endings, but directions. So if you are in a season of waiting, rejection, or self-doubt, maybe this is your reminder that you are not stuck. You are just being prepared. Trust the process. Have courage. Be isog. And if this story inspired you, please like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear this today, and comment what part of Aiah's journey touched you the most. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.